Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Michelle, and here on this channel I make videos for moms. So that can range anything from pregnancy updates to postpartum updates, must-haves for baby, must-have for mom, reviews of baby products, and anything like that. So if those are the type of videos you like to watch, I'd love for you to consider hitting that red subscribe button so you can see every time I have a new video. So today I am going to be doing Kai's 1 month update. I know I'm late on this, but I still wanted to do it because I looked back the other day on the updates for my daughter, and I just loved having those memories. So even though I'm a little bit late, I still wanted to do this just to share with you guys. And you guys can kind of see, I'll link the videos for her updates, and you can see the difference between the two just to see how baby Kai is growing. He's actually sleeping right now. I know when I filmed this with my daughter, she was in the video with me for the first little bit, but he's actually napping. So he probably won't make an appearance in this video, but next time I'll definitely try and get him in there. So I'm gonna do his updates in terms of sleep, feeding, and development, and then at the end I'll talk a little bit about how I'm doing 1 month postpartum. So in terms of sleep, he sleeps for about 2 to 3 hours for each nap in the day. So he'll be up for a shorter amount of times because in the first month, obviously newborns, they do a lot of sleeping. He loves to, as most babies do, sleep on his stomach, and I know that's not recommended. We definitely don't do it at night, but if we're on the couch, he'll like sleep on us on his stomach, or we'll lay him down. I'll lay him down right next to me where I'm watching him constantly because he really loves it, and I feel like he sleeps better that way. He likes to be swaddled, which is fantastic. My daughter hated being swaddled, but I feel like he sleeps so much better when he's swaddled. It keeps him calm. I actually have a few different types of swaddles, and I'm going to do a review on them, talk about the ones that I really loved. He will take a pacifier to sleep. He'll take a pacifier during the day too, just like when he's calm, just to calm him down or to help him get to sleep, but he does use the pacifier to help him sleep and to self-soothe. I wanted to start him on a passy very early and have him, you know, use that as well. I never had any issues with him with any kind of confusion between passy and breast. Like, he had no problem with that, so that wasn't an issue. I know they say sometimes to wait until you've established breastfeeding before you introduce a passy or a bottle, but I did it like he was taking a passy within the first week, and he was fine. He loves to sleep in the car / the car seat. The car kind of, I think, lulls him to sleep, and he'll sleep in the car seat whenever we go somewhere. Like, even if I just sit the car seat down, he'll just sleep in there. He's fine, he's comfortable. So I'm glad that he likes the car seat because it's the same one I used with my daughter. She hated being in the car, so it's nice because whenever we go somewhere, I just know it's almost a guarantee that he'll just sleep the entire time that we're out and won't even wake up until we get home. And during the day, he sleeps with noise. Same thing I did with my daughter. I didn't want her to have to sleep in complete silence. So in the daytime, he sleeps, you know, downstairs with us, and everything is going. My daughter is playing, she's watching iPad, the TV's going, you know, we're talking, stuff like that. He sleeps with that noise during the day. At night, he does use a sound machine, and then he has a portable sound machine that I use in the car seat, just to give him that white noise to help him to fall asleep. He will sleep in the swing, so I have the Mama-Roo. I had it with my daughter. Again, she hated it. I feel like they're complete opposites in so many things. She hated the swing. He likes the swing. I can't say he loves it, but he will stay in it for, you know, at least a 20-minute 30-minute period, and sometimes if he's tired and you give him the pacifier and he's swaddled and everything, or if he's just snug in a blanket, he will sleep in the swing as well and just like take a nap in there. So that's really nice because it gives me a little bit of hands-free. I don't have to worry about trying to put him down because he'll kind of put himself down. At night, he sleeps about 2 hours before he'll get up to nurse. At night, he usually does a long stretch. So usually about somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock, he'll go down to sleep, and he'll usually sleep until about 4, 5, 6, somewhere in that range before he wakes up. Sometimes, depending on if he goes down earlier than 10, he'll wake up at 3 a.m. But that's like his long stretch of sleep. And then from there, it's like every 2 hours until he wakes up. At night, he was having a lot of gas. He's definitely a gassier baby. from basically day one, and sometimes he spits up, so we try to give him some remedies for that. But I think a lot of times he wakes up because of the gas. It makes it hard for him to stay asleep. He loves to sleep on somebody. If you're holding him and he's on his stomach and he's like just snug, he will just fall asleep, and he will sleep like a full 2 to 3 hour nap on you. In terms of feeding, he is breastfed. Breastfeeding is going fantastic. He usually feeds on both sides at a feeding. Sometimes he'll have like a 10-15 minute gap in between, but he usually won't go back down to sleep until he's had both sides. 3 weeks is when he started nursing on both sides. I feel like a lot of times too, he nurses to relieve gas because the pain is bothering him. So I find that when I start nursing him, he'll usually pass a lot of gas, which sucks for me because it smells, like, let's be honest. But like I can feel that he's getting that pressure, it's relieving it for him. So sometimes he nurses simply because he wants to pass that gas. Sometimes he eats too much and he spits up often. So I think it's just like he just will drink till he's like so happy, but his stomach is like, I can't hold all this food, so he'll spit up. Sometimes he spits up a lot and then he has to feed again because like he's hungry because everything kind of came up. I feel like once he starts spitting up, he just keeps going. I feel like he'll spit up a while after too. So he might nurse and then spit up within 5 minutes, or he might nurse and spit up within like 20-25 minutes. So that's made tummy time a really hard thing to do because you never know when, if you put him on his stomach, if he's gonna spit up, if his stomach is too full. So I did speak to my midwife about it, and they said, you know, all is well, like it's just a normal thing. As he gets used to it, then he'll spit up less. It's a happy spitter. It's not anything like he's uncomfortable or he's in pain. I have started pumping once a day. I started probably about when he turned 4 weeks, so I guess it doesn't really fit in his 1 week, like his 1 month update, but I did start pumping. I pump once a day for about 10 to 15 minutes, and that's just to increase and keep my supply going, and that's been really helpful for like increasing my milk for him during the day. And I also have been using my Haka since like, probably about the 2nd or 3rd week. I started using my Haka pump to catch the letdown on the other side, and so I've started building a little stash, which is really nice. We just introduced a bottle to him yesterday for the first time. So when you're seeing this, obviously it was a few days before, but we just introduced a bottle to him. I wanted to do it earlier because with my daughter I waited till she was at least 4 or 5 weeks because I wanted to establish breastfeeding first. So I think it was about, maybe she was about 5 or 6 weeks when I started to introduce the bottle, because I was really concerned about nipple confusion, which I'm not really 100% sure is a thing. I know maybe it used to be. I think it maybe depends on the baby, it depends on the bottle, it depends on a whole lot of factors, but I don't think nipple confusion is something that will happen easily or with every baby. So I waited so long with her because I really wanted to be able to breastfeed her for at least the year. And I didn't want to do anything to ruin my chances, but she wouldn't take the bottle. I don't know if that had anything to do with how long I took to introduce it, or she just was not a baby who wanted a bottle, but she would never really take one easily. And I was very trapped. Like I couldn't go anywhere for too long because I knew I had to feed her, and I just didn't want to do that this time around. So I'd wanted to introduce him to a bottle at about 3-4 weeks, but I hadn't started pumping, and it was so hectic, you know, so I didn't do it. He took it very easily. I actually used the Komotomo bottles, so I want to use them for a little bit longer before I kind of review them and tell you guys exactly what I think about them. But he took it easily. He had actually 2 bottles, one during the day just to try it out, and then he took one, my husband gave him one in the night just so that I could get a little bit more sleep. So that was really nice. And I think that's going to be really helpful going forward. In terms of development, at our last appointment, which was yesterday, which was my discharge appointment because he's 6 weeks, he was 10 pounds and 9 ounces, I believe. When he was born, he was 6 pounds 8 ounces, and he went down to about 6 pounds 2 ounces. When I went in for my first appointment when he was about 2 weeks, he was 7 pounds and 12 ounces, and then the next appointment when he was 4 weeks, he was 9 pounds 2.5 ounces. So he was growing steadily. He'll turn his head towards familiar voices. He'll track you with his eyes, which is really sweet. And he's been doing that for quite some time. I found very early. He'll lift his head. Again, tummy time is rough because of his spitting up. But if he's laying on you, he'll hold his head up. If he's on your shoulder, he's holding his head. And we are trying to do more tummy time. He has more control over his hands. So they're not just kind of moving wildly. Like he's kind of able to move them where he wants them to go a little bit. He loves snuggles. He loves being held. He loves to sleep on you. He's just like a really snuggly baby. He had baby acne, and I would say that went away probably about the 4-week mark. But he had it like really bad, like all over his face, his like by his eyes, his cheeks, his forehead. He just had so much baby acne, and they say that's as a result of like the hormones, like my hormones from the milk, mixing with him. It's just how he adjusts to it. It's from baby to baby. So I honestly just would wipe his face 2-3 times a day with just like a warm washcloth with just water, and I would just wipe his face just to keep it clean. And it cleared up on his own. Sometimes I would put, if I had extra milk, I'd put some breast milk on it, but it pretty much cleared up on its own. And then his skin stopped peeling about that 4-week mark. I feel like he had more peely skin. I also think that they say because if a baby has less vernix when they're born, they're prone to peel more. Their skin will peel more. So he didn't have a ton, so I think that's why he was peeling so much. So that stopped at about the 4-week mark as well. That's pretty much it for his 1-month update. He's just, I love him so much. He's such a joy. He's just a calm, chill baby. I feel like he's just growing so much every day. He's been such a joy. His big sister loves him so much, which is really nice. That she just is like a little mommy. She loves him more than anything. So they are just so cute to watch them together, and I'm glad there's no like jealousy or anything like that. So it's been an adjustment adjusting to 2 kids. So I guess that kind of goes into, I'll talk now a little bit about how I'm doing postpartum, 1-month postpartum. It's definitely been an adjustment having 2 kids. So my daughter Mia Rose is going to be 3 next month. And so it's just a lot. Like we're in the midst of potty training with her. We started earlier, but it wasn't catching on. So like we're potty training her. We're trying to take care of a newborn. I'm trying to heal. It's just a lot. My husband's been home to help me quite a bit in this last like 6 weeks, which has been really nice. And of course there was the holidays, so he was off. And Mia Rose is going to daycare. She goes to daycare twice a week still. It'll be an adjustment, I think, when he goes back to work completely full time and it's just me and the 2 kids, but at least by then Kai will be a little bit older, so I'm hoping it'll be more manageable. But in the first few weeks, even with his help, it was just really rough. Like getting enough rest, making sure that I'm eating, making sure that I'm like taking care of myself physically, that I'm resting. It was really hard to rest because you have a toddler, so there's not that time to just like sit on your couch and chill. Definitely not as easy to like sleep when the baby sleeps because I have a toddler running around. So we're just, you know, we're not on a routine yet. We're just kind of trying to adjust. I think in those first few weeks though, I had baby blues. With Mia Rose, I didn't experience anything like that. I just felt a lot of mom guilt, like just feeling like I wasn't doing a good job, feeling like I wasn't taking care of her enough, that I was trying to discipline her, and I didn't want her to think it was because she has a new brother that like mommy and daddy don't love her anymore. So I had a whole lot of mom guilt around that, and I think that's, you know, a big adjustment to having 2 and just feeling like making sure that I'm meeting his needs. It's a lot. So even with the help, it was pretty overwhelming. But I feel like after about week 3, it kind of started to ease up and I started to feel better, and definitely by the 4-week mark I felt like, okay, I am doing the best that I can. Everybody is happy, healthy, safe, then we're good. So I'm glad. Like it took not that long for it to adjust, but it definitely was an adjustment period for me. In terms of how I'm doing physically, I am still bleeding. At this point, I am 6 weeks postpartum and I am still bleeding. I actually have to go for an ultrasound just to make sure, because with my daughter, I did have a little bit of retained placenta. So I was bleeding up until about 8-9 weeks. And then I did an ultrasound and they said, yeah, that's why your body is still trying to push things out. So at this point I'm still bleeding, still having a little bit of clots, so I am going to go for an ultrasound to see if it's retained placenta or if it's just my body is just not 100% there yet. Still having cramps, and I think that's also too if my body is trying to work something out, so I'm still having those like period cramps. Not necessarily when he's feeding, but just like any time of the day I'll get them. My stomach has gone down, I feel like, a lot faster than it did with my daughter. I did notice that my hair is extremely dry. I am about to put it in some sort of protective style. My hair is so dry. I feel like it has to do with like, I haven't had so much postpartum hair loss like I did with my daughter. Like my edges were just like falling out. It was a disaster. But I just feel like I can't keep my hair hydrated. Like it just feels very dry and brittle, and so I have to work on that. So I'm gonna put it in a protective style just to take care of it. Also, I have extremely dry lips. I had them all pregnancy with him, and I thought it was a pregnancy thing, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I think there's still hormones and stuff, so my lips have been extremely dry. I am putting things on it all day long just to keep them moisturized. I did have swollen ankles because, again, I still did have an IV even though I had a home birth, just for them to give you fluid. Drinking things like Gatorade and stuff, making sure I was drinking water just to try and flush out, and I feel like it did pretty quickly. Breastfeeding, of course, was hard in the beginning. The first 2 weeks, everything is sore. Every time your baby cries and wants to eat, you cry. Because my nipples were so sore. Like, I would take a shower, I couldn't. It was like that, but like times 10, because they were just so raw. Like I couldn't even, I had to hold them when I showered. I couldn't have the spray hit them at all. Toweling off was painful. Like I was lathering on all the creams. It was rough in that sense. But then by 3 weeks, it kind of started to settle down and we got into a routine. It wasn't so painful, and now nursing is like no big deal. I just feel like it's natural. It's not always about, like, I know they say like if it hurts, it's not good. It's not that. It's just you're not used to your nipples being used like that. Let's be honest. So there is going to be some discomfort. So I had that, but we got through it. The worst thing about the whole experience was I got a cold, and he was like not even a week old yet. So I had a cold there for like 3 weeks out of his 4 weeks. I was sick forever. It was so miserable because I couldn't take anything. I wasn't getting enough sleep. I think that also contributed to me feeling like I wasn't doing a good job as a mom. I was just down and out for the count. Like I wasn't getting enough sleep. I was sick. I couldn't take anything. My throat hurt. Of course, when you're sick, a lot of times your supply will dip. So I felt like, oh, I'm not having enough milk. Like, how am I going to breastfeed him? Like, this is a disaster. And so I was just like trying to drink, trying to take like my mother's milk tea to keep my supply going. That's why the Haakaa was a huge help, because I was using my Haakaa at that time, just to kind of help anything I could do to increase my supply. It did go away, and I felt like it was like the clouds parted, and I was like, oh, like it was a beautiful time. And that was basically just before Christmas that I kind of got over that cold. So I was really happy about that. But other than that, everything was good. Like 1 month postpartum, I feel like my healing and recovery process was a lot better this time around than with my daughter. And I'll talk about that a little bit more when I do my postpartum essentials must-have video. I just felt like it wasn't one extra thing on top of all the other things happening in life that was like a stressful thing. So I felt like I was recovering well, other than the cold, but physically I felt like I was doing better. But it was just a lot going on in that first month, and we made it through, and we're out on the other side, and yeah, like I couldn't be happier. Like it's a hard experience, but an amazing one as well. So anyways, guys, I'm pretty sure I've been talking way too long. That is it for Kai's 1 month update and for my 1 month postpartum update. If you guys have any questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section and I will get back to you as soon as possible. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that like button, hit that post notification bell so that you guys can see every time I have a new video. And if you aren't already subscribed to my channel, hit that red subscribe button so you can join my little internet family. Anyways, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Love you guys. Bye.